Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. About a month ago, I made a video discussing how the Bakugan Reboot is officially more successful than the original run of the show, and if you guys haven't seen that video, I'll leave a card above to it, but essentially the original iteration of Bakugan went on for 4 different seasons, and the Bakugan Reboot recently premiered its 5th season, making it officially more successful than the original Bakugan. It's had a longer run, and I even said, in that video that I really don't see it slowing down anytime soon because the toys are still selling really well from what I can tell. Every time I go to Target or Walmart or any other store, there are different waves of Bakugan figures on the shelves. There's always a different stock because people are buying it. Sometimes I'll go in back-to-back days and the Bakugan section is completely different from one day to another because the figures have sold. So with that all being said, you guys saw the title to this video. Needless to say, I am shocked to even be making this video, but the Bakugan Reboot is over. Bakugan Legends, which is the 5th season of the reboot, is going to be the final season of the reboot. And as of the recording of this video, it's aired its final episode. It had 13 episodes with 26 segments in them, and they all aired on Netflix on March 1st. There is no more episodes coming. This is the end of the Bakugan Reboot. And like I said, I thought the Bakugan Reboot was going to go on for a while. It seemed like it was doing really well, so I'm kind of at a loss for words here. I am shocked to be making this video. I am shocked to see that the Bakugan Reboot is ending. The only telltale sign that I didn't mention in my video a month ago, which was a little concerning, is that as of Bakugan Evolutions, which was the 4th season of the reboot, they started to reuse a lot of the same molds, a lot of the same models from the prior seasons, and they weren't making as many new ones as they were in seasons 1 through 3, and that's even continued and has become worse with Bakugan Legends, with even less new models coming out and a lot of old models being re-released with new coloring. So that was the only sign that, hey, something may be up, because the fact that they're not making new molds, they're not making new models, might mean that the Bakugan Reboot is starting to slow down. But in no way did I ever think that this would be the final season. I thought we'd get at least one more season and a 6th season, and maybe even a 7th. But with that all being said, what is the future of Bakugan from here? What is the future now that the reboot is over? And no, I am not joking when I say this, but there is another Bakugan Reboot coming out this year. And before we get into all the details on it, I really do want to give a quick shout out to the Bakugan Wiki, because they've done a great job trying to compile all the known information about this reboot. So again, quick shout out to them. But basically what's happening right now is a couple of things have gone on. Number one, and this is where the Bakugan Wiki comes in, they posted this link on their Twitter page to an Amazon UK listing for a new Bakugan toy. And so you can see on screen now, this is the box for the new Bakutin. Immediately what jumps out to you is there's a new logo for Bakugan that is different from the original logo, that is different from the Reboot Continuity's logo. This is a new logo for the 3rd series of Bakugan. From here on out, let's call this the 3rd generation of Bakugan, because that's the term that the Bakugan Wiki is using, and in all honesty, it's going to get really confusing if I call it the 1st reboot and the 2nd reboot and the original series. So we'll just call this Generation 3. This is the 3rd generation of Bakugan. This is the logo for it. And immediately what you might notice from this box as well, if you look at the bottom, it's a special attack manted. Beneath that, it shows you the ball itself, and it shows you the logo, the faction that it's a part of. So immediately, if you look at the Bakugan, the ball's being cut in half, the marble is cut in half, and there is something that's being put in the middle of that, and on top of that, that faction logo for that Bakugan, that is something we've never seen before. We have never seen a Bakugan with an insectoid-like logo to it. So then if we go to the next image of this Bakugan, we can see it in ball form, where that piece of plastic is in between the 2 halves of the ball, and it looks like there's a Beyblade ring that is between this Bakugan. So what does that do exactly? We don't know. So next up, we look at another image here of this Bakugan in its open form, and you can see there's the faction symbol on it, with half of it being translucent, the bottom half with that piece of translucent plastic in the middle, and the top half of it is not translucent. So again, I'll put some images on here so you guys can look at it, but this is very different from anything we've ever seen before from Bakugan. This does not look like the little magnetic toys that we've had before. In a way, it is the same in that they're still marbles and whatnot, but why do they have a Beyblade like ripcord to it? Why do they split in half? What is this thing in the middle? There's a lot of questions here. And on top of this, there was a toy fair recently in Brazil where there were 2 Bakugan products shown off at the toy fair. One of them is a Bakugan Bakugan starter pack and the other is a Bakugan battle pack. I will not be showing this image in the video just because this is leaked from a private convention, so I don't know how Spin Master and the people over at Bakugan are going to feel about it being out there, so for copyright reasons it's not in this video. But the other thing we can see from the image that I'm talking about is some characters are returning, such as Trox, such as Nilius. There's new characters as well. There's a new Dragonoid in it. In addition to that, you see more logos on the box. There's a total of 5 logos on the battle pack box, and there's a total of 6 logos on the starter pack box. Now these are for the different factions that are going to be in the show, and all of them are animal based. Like one of them looks like a dragon, one of them looks like a paw print, one of them looks like a rhinoceros, one that's like a blue wave, there's one that's like this white thing that like pointing up to the sky. And then on top of that, those are on the one box. On the other box, there's the same logos excluding the rhino one and the white one, and there's 3 new logos on that box as well, one of which is the insectoid logo that we see on the Bakugan that I showed you guys before. So all of this is really telling me that Bakugan is about to get a major shakeup. We'll see how it does because we don't really know anything other than what I just said about this 3rd generation of Bakugan. We don't know how the game's going to work. We don't know how the toys are going to work other than for some reason they have a ripcord like Beyblades do. The only thing I will say that's a bit of a concern and could be a potential issue for Bakugan is if this strays really far away from the core concepts of Bakugan, it could end up hurting their brand in a way, or at least being a financial failure to them, because like I said, everything seems to be more animalistic, more wild than before. All of the logos are different animals instead of having, you know, the Pyrus logo or the Chaos logo, which are more elemental, right? It's more like, this is the fire Bakugan, Aquos is the water Bakugan. This is more so, oh, this one has a paw print, this one's a dragon, this one's an insect. So it seems like it's a more wild or nature inspired Bakugan, which is very different from what we've seen in the past with Bakugan. And the danger there becomes if you're straying very far away or very far off from what Bakugan is meant to be and what it always has been, it might end up being a failure. Like the one thing that pops into my mind is I remember Beyblade did Bay Wheels back in the early 2010s, I believe around like 2012, 2013. I don't think Bay Wheels did that well. I didn't hear people really talking about it because it's just like, it's Beyblade but not Beyblade, so it's kind of something that went under their radar and didn't do great. We'll have to wait and see how far away they stray from Bakugan with this new 3rd generation, but I don't think we're gonna have to wait all that long because like I said, this new reboot should be coming out this year. On Amazon UK, it says that Bakugan I showed you guys before, its release date is July 7th of this year, so this summer we should be getting these new Bakugan toys, if not sooner than that here stateside. Soon enough, we should have an official announcement on what's next for Bakugan and what exactly is going on with the franchise, because this is a pretty big shakeup from what we've seen in the past with Bakugan. And the one other question I do have for Bakugan right now, do these toys at all work with the toys you've released prior? So what I mean by this is if you look at the 1st generation of Bakugan, right, the B1 and B2 series Bakugan, they have nothing to do with the reboot. They don't work in the game in the reboot. They don't have the same, you know, powers. I believe it's B power in the reboot and it was G power in the original. So it's different. It's distinctly different in its own way. The characters are different other than Dragonoid and a few others. It's not connected in any way is what I'm trying to say. Now that they're doing this 3rd generation of Bakugan, do they connect it at all to the 2nd generation? I said before that Trox is coming back, Dragonoid's coming back, Nilius is coming back. Those are obviously from the 2nd generation of Bakugan. So does that mean that the game and the toys are going to connect in any way? Or is this going to be something brand new that is completely disconnected from the first 2 generations of Bakugan? It's going to be a whole new game that people are going to have to learn. We're going to have to wait and see on all of that. All in all, this is not a video I was at all expecting to make anytime soon. Number 1, I'm shocked to say that the Bakugan reboot is over. And number 2, I'm shocked that we're getting something new so soon after. You know, usually when a show ends and it gets rebooted, the reboot usually comes a few years later or maybe even decades later, because usually a reboot means that, hey, what we were doing wasn't working. It was a failure. We're going to take a break from it and try to go back to the drawing board to come up with something new that can be successful. That's what happened with the original Bakugan. It was a failure after season 2 or 3. It really was when you think about it. Bakugan was very much a fad. It was really popular for the 1st season. A lot of people fell off for the 2nd. The 3rd season, barely anybody watched it. Then the 4th season is when it got canceled. So they went back to to the drawing board. 10 years later, they brought it back in the form of Battle Planet. It was pretty successful from what I can tell, and now they're canceling it for whatever reason we don't know, and they're rebooting it again. It is just so weird to see that this new reboot is going to be releasing the same year as the old reboot ended. Really weird situation. Again, we'll have to wait and see what all of this means for the future of Bakugan and what this new Bakugan, the third generation, even is. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. Are you guys surprised like me that number one, the Bakugan reboot is over, and number two, that there's another reboot coming this year? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.